Hey everybody, I'm Zach,
And I'm Jesse.
and you're watching In Depth on Now You Know. So Elon sent out a letter to employees last week, and normally I would not release this. We got a copy from some source, but it has been released by many other sources like Jalopnik, so I feel like it's perfectly fine to go ahead and talk about what it said. In fact, we're going to read it verbatim to you and talk about our thoughts on it.
All right.
So let's get started. And what we're going to do is whenever you see us reading it, Elon's face will appear so you know that this is him reading his email. And then we will stop from time to time and interject our thoughts. All right. So this is Elon's letter to employees. It is entitled Progress, Precision, and Profit. He starts off by saying, Progress. First, congratulations are in order. We have now completed our third full week of producing over 2,000 Model 3 vehicles. The first week was 2020. The second was 2070, and we just completed 2,250 last week, along with 2,000 Model S and X vehicles. So I think we should stop there, maybe take a look at the Bloomberg VIN tracker,
Yep.
and just talk about the fact that what is this something worthy of being excited about, this feat?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in terms of cars, they have just doubled the number of cars that they make. More than doubled. Anyone who's excited about Tesla should be excited about this. I mean, they set out to make the Model 3, and now they're making it, and their production numbers are increasing exponentially.
But what about all those shorts who said, oh, he didn't hit the number with the magic number, which was 2,500 by the end of the quarter?
I mean, it's such a small difference between this and that and the grand scheme of things.
And the other question is, he did it for a week, but then I think what's impressive here is he did it week after week after week.
Yep.
It wasn't just a one time, like everybody pulled together for 1 week only. It was, they actually got it going for 3 weeks. But people, I think, are going to say, yeah, he did that by basically paying a lot of overtime, having people work, extra hours. So is this truly a sustainable thing?
I think that it is. I think that, of course, there needs to be a big push in the beginning to actually get the numbers because for whatever reason, everyone needed to see some big production numbers. But it's good to see that they were actually able to set a goal and really ramp up production when they needed to. I think the thing that's interesting here is just simply the curve if you look at the tracker. For a while there, it looked like it was going up linearly in terms of their production numbers, but now you can see that it was part of an exponential, and it's something that Elon talks about a lot, which is, at the beginning, everything looks linear, and people will just continue to extrapolate linearly. Right. And so a lot of people were like, all right, so he started here, and he's going up this way, so by this point, he should be over here. But it's like, no, this is the zoom, right? And so now he's up.
Back to his letter. This is more than double Tesla's weekly production rate last year and an amazing feat in the face of many challenges. It is extremely rare for an automotive company to grow the production rate by over 100% from one year to the next. Moreover, there has simultaneously been a significant improvement in quality and build accuracy, which is reflected in positive owner feedback. Starting today at Giga and tomorrow at Fremont, we will be stopping for 3 to 5 days to do a comprehensive set of upgrades. This should set us up for Model 3 production of 3,000 to 4,000 per week next month.
Wow. They're pausing their production for 3 to 5 days. And I mean...
And in fact, by the time you're seeing this, they're probably done with their pause.
Right. I mean, you can sort of imagine it like a train. Like you can build a train and then you can start moving, and you build up momentum, and then you maybe try and push it like everyone, as fast as you can, shoveling the coal or whatever. But then at a certain point, you need to upgrade the train, right?
Okay.
And you can't do that while you're moving. You can do small things, but you can't you can't grab the moving arm of the train and be like, okay, and then replace it with the other one. There we go. It doesn't work like that. And it's the same thing with an assembly line. An assembly line is basically... It's sort of like a train, except you're moving things through it as opposed to moving yourself forward. It's a lot like that. You can't just be like, okay, the arm is coming up, moving the car. Okay, put it down. Now quickly we'll replace it. Like, you can't do that.
And do you think that these are parts that have been developed in Germany at Tesla Groningen, and they're bringing them over to Giga and Fremont?
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of different upgrades that we have no idea what they're going to be putting in there. Some of it's going to be software, but I think a lot of it is probably, as you do more production, you'd be like, oh, it would make sense if this were moved over to the left half a meter or something like that.
Let's see what he says. Another set of upgrades starting in late May should be enough to unlock production capacity of 6,000 Model 3 vehicles per week by the end of June. Please note that all areas of Tesla and our suppliers will be required to demonstrate a Model 3 capacity of about 6,000 per week by building 850 sets of car parts in 24 hours no later than June 30th. I think we need to parse this a little bit.
Yeah. So what he's saying here is that if you're a supplier for Tesla, you need to be able to make enough parts to supply 6,000 cars per week.
Now, why 6,000 if his goal is 5,000?
Say you hit 5,000. What, you're just going to stop?
Oh, I see. But I was thinking maybe you say 6,000 so that you give a little wiggle room for people who, can't.
It's true. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you can produce 6,000, then you can definitely produce 5,000 per week. Yeah.
Right. And this is also interesting to me because this is a very short period of time. We're talking, he's saying that that's going to happen at the end of June. That's not far from now.
No, it is not.
So, I mean, that's really exciting. Any Tesla department or supplier that is unable to do this will need to have a very good explanation why not, along with a plan for fixing the problem, and present that to me directly. If anyone needs help achieving this, please let me know as soon as possible. We're going to find a way or make a way to get there. I'm intrigued by this. You have to talk to him if you have a problem.
Right. Well, I mean, he is in charge of production.
This is amazing.
He's so at the helm of his company. Like, it's really like, I just picture Tesla as being this big ship, and he's the guy at the wheel. Like, it's not
people
like,
are running up to him like, sir, there's an iceberg over there. What should we do, sir?
I mean, it's either, I think you should put down in the comments down below whether you picture him like at a ship's wheel, or if you imagine him like in Captain Kirk's chair.
Oh,
or,
yeah, that's how I picture him.
Like, how do you picture him as a commander, or is he like Admiral Akbar, like in that weird chair that floats around or something? Like, what do you picture him as?
But we know that he's like sleeping on the floor of the factory.
It's completely different. Maybe,
I mean, Captain Kirk didn't sleep on the floor of the factory.
Maybe in the future we're gonna picture great leaders as sleeping on couches.
Maybe. The reason that the burst build target rate is 6,000 and not 5,000 per week, oh, here he goes, he's explaining it to us, is that we cannot have a number with no margin of error across thousands of internally and externally produced parts and processes, amplified by a complex global logistics chain. Actual production will move as fast as the least lucky and least well-executed part of the entire Tesla production supply chain system. So he therefore answered it, basically.
Yep.
He's got to give himself some wiggle room.
Yeah.
By having a Model 3 subsystem burst build requirement of 6,000 by end of June, we will lay the groundwork for achieving a steady 6,000 per week across the whole Model 3 system a few months later. So basically he's saying a few months after that, we're going to be expecting 6,000 a week. So that's talking August-ish, September.
Yep.
As part of the drive towards 6,000, all Model 3 production at Fremont will move to 24/7 operations. This means that we will be adding another shift to general assembly, body, and paint. Please refer anyone you know who you think meets the Tesla bar for talent, drive, and trust. Between Fremont and Giga, Tesla will be adding about 400 people per week for several weeks. So I think a lot of shorts are saying here that this is kind of a cheat method of increasing your production, right? Because you're adding way more people. He's already said here, adding hundreds of people. So that's increasing your costs. So you're increasing the cost to make the car. That's not really what we were promised, right? We were promised a faster build rate using existing people and machines.
I mean, one thing that Tesla has that basically all of their car companies don't really have is a huge waiting list.
That's true.
I mean, we keep bringing it up and it sounds really stupid after you bring it up for the umpteenth time that like, yeah, no one's waiting in line for a Camry. No one's waiting in line for an Audi, And yeah, that's because they have their production issues all sorted because they've been making cars for decades. But at the same time, it's like, well, Tesla just doesn't have that. And in order to, I think, really establish their brand in this newer market, they really need to push out these cars as fast as possible. I think that it's going to do a world of good to actually start getting these cars into people's hands because it's such a different car. Like, I mean, you might think, growing up, I would have thought like, oh, going from a Honda Civic to an Audi something would be such a step up. And you'd be like, oh, I'm so excited. And you'd want to show it off. But for a lot of people, going from anything to the Model 3 is going to be such a step up that they're absolutely going to want to show it off. It's almost a form of advertisement for Tesla because, I mean, as soon as you have one, first of all, nobody else has a Tesla something because they're super rare compared to most other cars. And they know that they're going to be putting these cars in the hands of people who live in areas that don't necessarily have, Tesla Model S's and stuff because it's a more affordable car. And I think that that's just going to open up a whole new market for them. In one sense, yes, it does cost them more per car maybe to have production at 24/7. But at the same time, they're making more customers for themselves as people see like, oh, wow, he's got, Steve's got that new car and it's really cool. It's completely different than all the other cars. Let me ask him some questions about it. Because honestly, I've experienced that a lot of people will just ask me questions about Teslas because they don't know.
Right.
And it's very hard to find out. It's not just common knowledge. It's not like you can, how you have those like car friends and you can ask them things like, oh, so what happens if the exhaust falls off your car? And they're like, well, first, the state won't like it, and also, this or that, your power, whatever. But there are not that many, Tesla people who can just answer any of your questions about buying an electric car. And the people who own electric cars don't necessarily own Teslas. They might own a Leaf. And going from a Leaf to a Model 3 is a completely different experience. And the more people who have Model 3s, I'm telling you, it's going to change the way we think about cars.
It's true. Another thing I'd like to point out is that our friend Ross from Seeking Alpha has a good article out this week where he points to the fact that we're not even thinking about what's going to happen in Q4. If Elon can hit these production targets, we're talking that Tesla might be in the top 10 of U.S. selling cars. And next year, they might be cracking the top 5. So we're talking about the Camrys of the world, the Corollas, those cars, the Civics, they might be bumped from the list by the Model 3. When that happens, I think a whole bunch of people are going to be like, wait, what? Tesla's on this list with the Camry? What's Tesla? What's Model 3? Right.
Tesla is still not a household name. It is probably for you if you're watching this, obviously. But for a lot of people, it's, maybe you saw one article on Facebook about it and maybe it was super negative and you were just like, I'm going to put that in the same category as I put Faraday Future.
I think for a lot of people, a Tesla is like a Bugatti. I think it's a car you might have heard of or something, but you don't know much about it, and you know that they're expensive and fast or something. But that's all you know. And so I think, for a lot of people, the Model 3 is going to be a total wake-up call, as you said, as Doug down the street and Bob down the street has them in their driveway.
Right. And
now you're starting to be like, wait, what? How did you get in your driveway so quietly?
Right. And
did you run out of gas?
Not just that. They are really good-looking cars. I mean, no one has ever... we've driven it and we've shown it to a lot of different people and nobody has been like, I just don't like the look of it.
Right.
Everyone loves the car. It looks amazing.
It's true.
I mean, and it's completely different than all the cars. There's no front grille, Really it's so rare to actually see a car like that. Again, it's going to sell itself. All right, so let's get back to the letter. Part 2, precision. Most of the design tolerances on the Model 3 are already better than any other car in the world. Soon they will all be better. This is not enough. We will keep going until the Model 3 build precision is a factor of 10 better than any other car in the world. I am not kidding.
Can we stop there for a second?
Yeah.
That sounds a little over the top.
It sounds pretty over the top.
I mean, a factor of 10 means that if your build precision was like 1 millimeter, that you're now talking 1/10 of a millimeter. I mean, it's possible, I guess, because he is dealing with robots, so maybe that's what I'm not factoring in here. I mean, robots are amazingly precise.
True. I think the weirdest part for me is that Tesla's really not been known for having the best build tolerances.
So what he might be saying here, he might be like raising the bar and saying we are going to be known for that, because that has been one of their key complaints.
Yep.
Let's keep going.
Our car needs to be designed and built with such accuracy and precision that if an owner measures dimensions, panel gaps, and flushness, and their measurements don't match the Model 3 specs, it just means that their measuring tape is wrong. That is one way to do it. Some parts suppliers will be unwilling or unable to achieve this level of precision. I understand that this will be considered an unreasonable request by some. That's okay. There are lots of other car companies with much lower standards. They just can't work with Tesla.
Now, can I stop there? what I didn't realize about cars until we got into the show a couple of years ago is that most car manufacturers, we think of the Hondas and the Fords of the world, are basically just manufacturers of other companies' parts. They don't make a lot of their own parts. So they take, a Bosch part and a something else part, and they put them into their car, but they don't make those parts. Tesla actually is making more and more of their parts themselves. Now, that isn't to say that they don't have outside suppliers. They have thousands of outside suppliers.
Right.
But what he's basically doing here is he's shooting across the bow of his part suppliers and saying, hey, if you don't step up and give me the parts that I need, we'll find other suppliers.
Right.
And now they're a huge company. So when he first might have thought that a few years ago, part suppliers would be like, hey, we don't need you, little Tesla.
Right. Who cares?
But if you're going to start making as much cars as the Toyota Camry, then as a part supplier, you're going, oh, crap, we need to do whatever Tesla wants.
Right, because the more cars you make, the more business you're generating for your part suppliers. I mean, your part suppliers are more than happy when you ask for more and more parts, because that means more and more business. That means more and more profit and workers for them.
And this is implying that Tesla can go out and get bids from plenty of other companies if you won't step up and do your job. So
right.
I think that's interesting. Okay, next is the third part of the email, profit. A fair criticism leveled at Tesla by outside critics is that you're not a real company unless you generate a profit, meaning simply that revenue exceeds costs. It didn't make sense to do that until reaching economies of scale, but now we are there. Going forward, we'll be far more rigorous about expenditures. I have asked the Tesla finance team to comb through every expense worldwide, no matter how small, and cut everything that doesn't have a strong value justification. All capital or other expenditures above $1 million, or where a set of related expenses may accumulate to $1 million over the next 12 months, should be considered on hold until explicitly approved by me. If you are the manager responsible, please make sure you have a detailed first principles understanding of the supplier quote, including every line item of parts and labor before we meet. So he basically just said, you better be able to justify any of your costs to me personally.
Right. So, I mean, Tesla has not made a profit. And this is, again, what he said in the letter, which is that critics are like, well, they don't make a profit. They're not a real company because look at Ford. Ford makes all this profit. Look at this. Oh, blah, blah, blah. But they could have made a profit at basically any point. They could have just said, okay, we're going to stop development of this, stop development of that. We don't need a Model 3. We'll just stick with the Model S. Who needs a Model X in those crazy doors? We'll just make a Model S. Or that could have been profitable. Obviously, they would have been a much smaller company, but they would have been making a profit.
Right.
What Elon chose to do was to just keep coming out with cars. I mean, the Model S was groundbreaking. I mean, there was no electric car of that type, and there pretty much hasn't been for years. Then they came with the Model X, and again, same thing. Nobody had made a car of that type. Model 3, again, nobody has made a car of basically that same caliber.
And let's talk about the Model Y.
Right.
It's going to be coming out sooner than you know, and this is going to be an even bigger car than the Model 3.
Right. You wonder why Tesla hasn't been profitable. It's because they've been working on stuff like this.
Right.
And the Tesla Semi.
And the pickup
which, again, is a truck that no one has ever made before.
Right.
Yeah, these things are super duper expensive, and they have been paying just out the wazoo to develop these things.
Here's a key thing. I think that Elon is going for a profitable 2018. And by that, I mean, I think he's going to get the numbers that he needs on the production line of the Model 3 in Q4 to actually be profitable this year. Then I think in 2019, he's not going to be profitable again that year because he's going to have to plow a lot of money back into Model Y, Semi, Roadster, whatever else. So I think it's very important psychologically that they make a profit this year and show that they can do it, so that all the naysayers who are going to come next year, he will be able to say, hey, we're going to be doing that again soon. We just need to put money into the factory.
Right. It's really pretty rare for car manufacturers to come out with new vehicles. Again, it's usually just the same model year after year, except new cup holder. This one has Bluetooth. Coming out with a new car basically every 2 years.
Yeah,
is expensive.
And like you said before, these aren't just slightly different revised models like, Malibu and then the Chevy Cruze. When you come out with two models that are similar sedans, slightly different, configuration, no, what he's doing here are coming out with cars that are completely never before seen on the planet.
Right. That is why they have not been profitable.
Right.
But again, at any point, he could have just been like, you know what?
Let's just stop.
No Model 3,
Right.
no Roadster, no truck,
Right.
no Model X. We'll just make Model S's, and
Right.
we'll be this little company, and we'll make, 1,500 cars a year.
Exactly. All right, and continuing on, I have been disappointed to discover how many contractor companies are interwoven throughout Tesla. Often it is like a Russian nesting doll of contractor, subcontractor, sub-subcontractor, etc., before you finally find someone doing actual work. This means a lot of middle managers adding cost but not doing anything obviously useful. Also, many contracts are essentially open time and materials, not fixed price and duration, which creates an incentive to turn molehills into mountains as they never want to end the money train. There is a very wide range of contractor performance from excellent to worse than a drunken sloth. All contracting companies should consider the coming week to be a final opportunity to demonstrate excellence. Any that fail to meet the Tesla standard of excellence will have their contracts ended on Monday. By the way, here are a few productivity recommendations. Excessive meetings are the blight of big companies and almost always get worse over time. Please get rid of all large meetings unless you're certain they are providing value to the whole audience, in which case, keep them very short. Also, get rid of frequent meetings. Unless you are dealing with an extremely urgent matter, meeting frequency should drop rapidly once the urgent matter is resolved. Walk out of a meeting or drop off a call as soon as it's obvious you aren't adding value. It is not rude to leave. It is rude to make someone stay and waste their time. Don't use acronyms or nonsense words for objects, software, or processes at Tesla. In general, anything that requires an explanation inhibits communication. We don't want people to have to memorize a glossary just to function at Tesla. Communication should travel via the shortest path necessary to get the job done, not through the chain of command. Any manager who attempts to enforce chain of command communication will soon find themselves working elsewhere. A major source of issues is poor communication between departments. The way to solve this is allow free flow of information between all levels. If, in order to get something done between departments, an individual contributor has to talk to their manager, who talks to a director, who talks to a VP, who talks to another VP, who talks to a director, who talks to a manager, who talks to someone doing the actual work, then super dumb things will happen. It must be okay for people to talk directly and just make the right thing happen. In general, always pick common sense as your guide. If following a company rule is obviously ridiculous in a particular situation such that it would make for a great Dilbert cartoon, then the rule should change. If there is something you think should be done to make Tesla execute better or allow you to look forward to coming to work more, same thing in the long term, please send a note to emdesk@tesla.com. Thanks for being such a kick-ass team and accomplishing miracles every day. It matters. We are burning the midnight oil to burn the midnight oil. Elon.
Wow. Okay, there's a lot to parse there. So he's going back and he's going to eliminate all waste at the company.
Yeah.
It sounds like. I mean, not all waste, but like a lot.
As much as he can figure out.
Right. A lot of really cool things there. The thing about meetings, being in a company with meetings, let me tell you, there are some people at where I work where you don't see them for weeks because they're just in meetings all day. I mean, yeah, it completely changes your productivity level when there are people who are just always in meetings. And if you are the one who's constantly in a meeting, it's like, what could you possibly be doing?
How do you even keep track of all the things you've been supposed to be learning in the meeting without having like a whole book?
The whole chain of command thing, it's all like,
How
there
refreshing.
are people doing work, and then there's people who are telling the people to do work.
Well, and here's the thing. This letter went out to every employee. We're talking tens of thousands of people. So what it's telling you is, right down to your job, if you don't want to go talk to your manager, if there's a better way to talk about this, go talk about it that way. He's giving you the freedom to talk in the way that makes most sense to you. And that's refreshing because in most companies, it's like, no, you deal with this person who deals
Go
with
talk
that
to your
person.
manager.
Right.
You're going to talk to your manager. Your manager's going to manage.
And let's be honest, how often, I mean, we've all been in these situations where you know that talking to your manager is not, in fact, it's going to make it worse because your manager is clueless or because your manager doesn't like you or doesn't understand the problem. He's basically saying here, if you know how to get the problem solved, go solve it. Use common sense. That's amazing.
That is pretty amazing.
Because we all innately we know our jobs well, hopefully.
Right.
And we know what we need to make them better. And he's saying, hey, if you can think of a better way, and also the last part, if you can think of a way to make it so that you're looking forward to coming to work,
email me.
yeah.
Crazy. That's awesome.
He's the CEO of the company.
Right. He's in charge of everybody, and he's willing to Except I would hope is just a torrent, a flood of emails from people with ideas.
How do you think he deals with it? I mean, I know he has a chief of staff, so that person must.
No.
You think that he clicks on each of the emails
Absolutely.
and reads them?
Yeah.
How much time do you think? You think like 2 hours a day, 4 hours a day?
Yeah. I mean, how many? Okay, let's just think about this for a second, right? We have 50,000 subscribers.
Okay. Yep.
Give or take a couple.
Oh, that's kind of like the number of Tesla employees.
Right. And we get comments. We get like 300, 500 comments a day.
I feel like but this is a good point though. I think if you have to put your name on the email, you're gonna think, and you know the email's going to
Right.
Elon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I get comments from just about everybody and anybody, and you know their name can mean nothing. You know,
But-
JR2963XX4, and then you know in his comments like blah 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 blah, right? And I can't fire him, but if I could, I'd be like, nope, you're fired.
Wait. So you think some of these emails might lead to being fired?
No, I don't think so. But I'm just saying, like, if he knew that I could fire him from his job, or even if I could prevent him from commenting on YouTube, that he would probably be like, should I say blah, blah? No, I should probably contribute something, you know, useful. And so I think as soon as you know, once you have an identity tied to your email address, which is how we normally email people, I think it changes the paradigm.
Do you know what else this changes? When the CEO is reading down to the lowest level of the company, they're going to have a really good understanding of what's going on in that company, as opposed to the CEO walks into a meeting every Monday and is told by his next level VPs, well, this is what's going on, Elon.
Right.
He's going to know, no, that's not what's going on. Right. I've been talking to everybody in the company, and here's what's going on. The coffee maker in section 4 is not working properly. Like, I know this.
Right.
That's pretty amazing, valuable information.
Right.
The last thing I want to ask you about, Jesse, this is part of the email I didn't understand. It says, we are burning the midnight oil to burn the midnight oil. Is that a reference to like a song or a movie? Like, what does that mean?
If you know, put it in the comments down below. I think my guess would be...
Is it a reference to oil? Like, we're burning the midnight oil so that we'll no longer need to burn oil? That's the part of the letter I just didn't quite follow.
I don't know.
I feel like it went over my head.
It's really tough because I never had an oil lamp that I had to read by at night, you know. So it's like.
But I mean, is he saying that we're gonna work late so that we can work late? Like we're gonna keep working hard so that we can work hard some more? I guess that's what he's saying.
I guess so.
So just keep working hard, everybody.
Yeah,
I would work hard for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not even his employee, and I want to work hard for him.
We do. We do this show every week, and we have for 85.
We're probably his
86
cheapest employees.
Yeah.
We work hard for him, and we don't get paid. But we do it for you, Elon. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And I want to remind you out there to not only subscribe and do all that other fun stuff, but also please consider becoming a Patreon, because that is how we can afford to get this.
Yeah. So, I mean, we are going to get, I think, basically the only Tesla Semi that's not going to be owned by a major corporation.
I know of one other person who's claiming to get the Semi as well. But yes, we're going to be one of the few out there.
One of the very few that is not going to be a
and we're not going
faceless corporation.
We're not going to keep it parked in our garage.
No. We are going to be taking it out on the road. We're going to be showing it to everyone and anyone, and especially our Patreon supporters, because they're going to be the ones that allow us to actually get one.
Right.
And show it around the whole world, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah. I am too. Another thing I want to just mention is that we're going to be at an Evoto event up in Montreal. Our buddies up at Evoto are doing a Model 3 event, and they needed a Model 3, and we said, hey,
we have a Model 3.
We can drive up there.
And we can drive up there.
So May 12th, we will be up in Montreal. If you're interested, if you live in the area and you want to come meet us, see the Model 3, talk about Teslas and all the other fun stuff, we'll post a link down below, hopefully to the website where you can find out all the good information. But May 12th, mark that down in your calendars. Thank you so much, everybody.
Canada.
Now you know.
Now you know.